Greetings and thank you for tuning in to Mr. Story Channel, where you can experience the most fascinating moments on Reddit. It's time for our first story. Am I the jerk for walking our dog while my wife was getting ready for dinner? It feels ridiculous to ask about this, but I'm starting to think I'm missing some key bits of information here. I guess I'm asking that if I am an idiot. Why? Because it wasn't my intention. And I certainly would like to prevent it from happening again. This Friday, my wife and I had reservations at her favorite restaurant because her birthday is right around the corner. We have a party planned, but this was supposed to be our night together alone. The way the reservation was set up, I would come home from work, change, and immediately drive there as it's around an hour and a half by car. Yes, we live in hick country. Yes, I am a hick, and no, we aren't moving anytime soon. LOL. The day had gone great so far, and from what I knew, everything was going according to plan. I got home, and she's behind schedule getting ready. This is not something that happens for her, like, ever. And I was surprised, but the reason wasn't her fault, and it was barely a 20-minute deviation. However, I was just waiting by the door during that time, and the dog decided he needed out, so I took him for a walk around our yard. It took maybe 5 minutes, and I cleaned everything up and had him put up before my wife was ready. We made it to the dinner reservation by the skin of our teeth, and that was that. We had a great date, and I would have never known she was upset with me until the next morning, when she said that she had never known me to be so impatient, which confused me, and she rolled her eyes and said she noticed that I took the dog for a walk before we left to make her hurry, and that she just didn't want to let my bad mood ruin the night. I had been in a great mood and told her so, but she refused to believe it and got pretty angry, which I haven't been able to calm her down from to even talk about all this again. I really don't understand what I've done wrong here, and I don't know what to do. Can someone tell me what I am missing here? Until that moment, I was under the impression that everything was exactly how it's supposed to be. And for the plot twist in the update. Hello. I feel weird updating, but I have good news and want to share somewhere, and here seems as good a place as any. And, actually, I wanted to thank everyone for commenting, and the people who reached out privately with advice. You really helped me calm down and figure out how to approach talking about this while seeing where my wife could have been coming from. One person even called exactly what was going on, something I dismissed right away back then. So, I came home the next day and brought home pizza from her favorite spot in town, which we never get because of crowds, because I figured even if I wasn't outright wrong, there was no reason not to make the conversation nice. So after dinner, I asked about the dog again, and after a lot of back and forth and crying that I'd skip explaining, she explained that for the past week or so she had been feeling weirdly emotional, and she couldn't explain it. Some people had mentioned some things here about different health stuff that could cause those sorts of symptoms, and I got pretty nervous and got her in at her doctor's office within a couple of days. Well, imagine our embarrassment walking out 5 minutes after getting in and doing a test we could have done at home for, like, $20, without including insurance companies. She is going to talk to her therapist about meeting every week for a while she adjusts/deals with hormonal changes. We've been laughing about it now because it never crossed our minds she could have been pregnant. Someone commented it, but I still didn't believe it because I am dumb. Never mind that we're both in our 20s, or that she switched birth control like 2 months ago, and we may or may not have had unprotected intercourse during the switch week. Anyway, as stupid as we may be, we are still excited but waiting until the 12-week mark to tell our families. However, I've been itching to tell someone and can't wait any longer. So here's an update. Wife approved, because it's anonymous. Thanks again for the help. I appreciate it a lot, even if I didn't take the advice of the person who was right. If you are enjoying these stories, please give it a like and subscribe. We are trying to reach our first 100 subscribers. Thank you, and let's go for our next story. Am I the jerk for telling my father that it was his fault he missed my son's first birthday party? With update. My son turned one this past weekend. On Sunday, my husband and I threw a birthday party for him at a local kids venue. We confirmed the date with both the venue and our guests a few months ago. One of those guests was my father. Back when I informed him of the date, he told me he'd come. A few days before the party, he asked if there was any way for me to reschedule it. I said no, as we'd already confirmed everything with the venue. My father then told me he'd be late to the party because there was an event at his girlfriend's church on the same day, and she wanted him to attend. I should say that my immediate family, including my father, is technically Catholic, but none of us practice it. However, my father's girlfriend is very religious. Since they started dating, a little over a year ago, my father has been attending church with her on a semi-regular basis. He has explicitly told me he doesn't like it, but does it to make her happy. I told my father I was fine with him being late, as long as he came to the party at some point. He said he'd show up as soon as the church event was done. A few hours before the party ended, my father texted me the event was still going, and he thought it would be in poor taste for him to leave early, so he probably wouldn't be able to come. I didn't hear from him again that day. On Monday, my father called me to explain that the event went on for longer than he expected. He didn't apologize, but asked if I was angry at him, and I said yes. He said he had no way of knowing the event would last as long as it did, but that's not what I'm upset about. I told him he still chose to prioritize an event he didn't even want to attend over his grandson's first birthday party, made several other choices that led him to completely miss the latter, and didn't inform me about any of that until the last minute. All of those decisions were his, so the fact he ultimately didn't come to the party was his fault. My father is still refusing to apologize and insists I have no right to be angry over something he had no control over. I'm starting to feel odd about this. My husband is on my side, but my sister told me I'm being dramatic. Update. Hey guys. I intended to update sooner, but I've been busy these days. I think my main takeaway from your comments was that it's not my job to placate my father's feelings. He made several conscious decisions that led him to miss the birthday party. He had the right to make those choices, but the consequences were indeed his fault. After deliberating for a while, I called my father to discuss the subject again. I told him I don't expect him to apologize, and I won't hold resentment towards him forever, but he can't expect me to pretend his actions didn't anger me or that it wasn't his fault. We had a long discussion about it. Throughout all of it, my father kept trying to play the victim. He'd talk about how he wanted to come to the party and was upset he'd missed it. At one point he said, "You don't understand. I didn't want to go to the church." I told him I don't care. What matters is that he did. He could have told his girlfriend he didn't want to go, but he didn't. He could have left the church early, but he didn't. He could have prioritized his previous commitment and not attended the event in the first place, but he didn't. Everything he did that day was within his control. I won't get into the specifics of the discussion itself, but I will say that it took a while. I explained that if he wants to prioritize his girlfriend over his grandchild, the least he can do is be upfront about it. That means either not making promises he can't keep or acknowledging his responsibility when he makes regretful decisions. My father did end up apologizing and, more importantly, taking accountability. I forgave him, but I intend to be wary from now on. Looking back, I don't feel like I was ever able to truly rely on my father. Back then, he would miss events because he had a complicated work schedule. But now that I know he's also capable of doing that willingly, I don't want to enable it. If my father ever prioritizes anything, be it a girlfriend or an event, over a commitment he made to my son again, I will stop inviting him. Same goes for any children my husband and I have in the future. I've informed my father of that, and he agreed. His girlfriend, from what I've heard, is angry at me, but I could care less. This will be my only update. I don't think I have anything else to add, but feel free to ask me any questions you may have. Thank you for your feedback on my last post. And for our next story. Am I the jerk for shaming my sister for being pregnant and refusing to help her at all with any expenses? I, 24 female, have a twin sister, Ashley, and we've always been close. She started dating this guy a year ago, Jared, 32 male. I never really liked him, but my sister was head over heels in love with him and said she wanted to marry him. This summer, I was at the grocery store when a woman with 3 kids came up to me in the aisle and asked if I was Ashley. I said no and was about to say we're twins when she cut me off and said, "Yes, you are. You're dating my deadbeat baby daddy and want to stalk my pages, leaving hate messages saying he chose you over us and to move on. How heartless are you?" I was like, what the heck? I am not Ashley. I'm her twin sister, Blair, and asked if she was talking about Jared. She said yes and showed me the screenshots of my sister demanding her saying Jared is now hers. He doesn't claim those kids, blah blah blah. I was very uncomfortable, but I knew in my gut he was a weirdo. I was so shocked my sister would date a deadbeat, and proudly knowing how our father being a deadbeat sent us both to therapy. I just walked away. A few days later I asked my sister, and she denied it at first, then admitted it, saying she didn't tell me he has kids since I personally don't date men with kids, and she didn't want me to judge her. I told her I was judging the fact that he's a deadbeat, not a father. We argued about it a lot, and I've looked at her differently since. Anyway, this week she invites me over, and she and Jared tell me she's pregnant and are both so happy. I just sat there silently and kept eating. She asked why I was acting like a witch and why aren't I happy to be an aunt, and I said because of and gestured towards Jared. He got mad and said, "What's your problem with me?" And I said, "Because you're a deadbeat." They both got quiet and he said, "That doesn't mean I'll be one for this kid." At that point, I laughed and got up to leave. I'm in the hallway on the way to the elevator when my sister comes running behind me and keeps asking why I'm being so rude while she's sobbing. I told her that she should be ashamed to be pregnant by a guy who abandoned his other kids knowing that happened to us and that she's disgusting and a loser, and he's going to leave her like he did his ex. She said I don't know the full story, and she can't believe I would be not supportive in this time of her life, and the baby has half my DNA too. I felt bad and said I would try to be there for her, but she'll realize what a mistake she made. So I left. Now she's texting me, saying she wants me to come back and apologize to Jared, and I refused, and she said that she doesn't want to speak to me if I don't apologize to them. Am I crazy? I try to keep it under 3K characters, but here is some more info. She and Jared live with 2 other roommates, and she pays the bills since he has to pay child support. When she texted me to apologize, she asked me if I could help plan the gender reveal and baby shower with her and pay for half since it's my niece/nephew, and I said no, but I would attend. What would you do in this situation? Tell me in the comments. And for our next story, am I the jerk for implementing the you cook you clean rule and leaving her to clean up her dishes after she made pasta? My wife and I switch off cooking. Both of us cook twice a week, and the days neither of us cook, it's a leftover night or takeout. We used to have the person who didn't cook do the dishes after the meals. I clean as I cook, so when it is my night there are very few dishes for her to clean up. When she cooks, I swear she uses almost every single dish or pot for her meals. It is a disaster in the kitchen and takes me a long time to clean the whole thing up. I have had conversations before about this and have asked her to clean as she goes, to reduce the mess. She refuses and claims that is just what happens because she likes to make elaborate meals. She does make more elaborate meals than me and spends a while in the kitchen. I prefer to make more simple meals like stir-fry. I brought up last Thursday that I won't clean up after her cooking anymore. She left a huge mess, and I was over it. That I will clean up my dinners, and she can clean up hers. On Saturday, my cooking night, I made beef tips over noodles and cleaned it all up. Sunday was her cooking night, and she made homemade pasta and red pepper sauce. We ate, and she didn't clean up her mess, and later the night she asked me to clean it up. I told her no and reminded her what I told her and pointed out I cleaned my stuff up. This brought me to this morning. I didn't do the dishes, and when she woke up, there wasn't much room for her to make her coffee and breakfast. She is mad that I didn't clean it up. We got into a huge argument before I left for work. She thinks I'm a huge idiot, so I am asking for an outside opinion. And Opie answered some questions. Would you be at all upset if she started making simpler meals to use less dishes? Like, do you want to still have her make the fancier meals and cleaning, but you stuck to simple meals and cleaning? That's really the only way I could see this being a problem. No, I wouldn't care. She is the one that likes the elaborate meals, not me. Do you enjoy her elaborate meals? They are fine, but I personally prefer my meals more. When I see them, the joy is greatly dampened by knowing I will be cleaning up a big mess. And someone commented, it isn't that her meals are more elaborate. It's that she isn't cleaning anything as she goes, so it all piles up. The division of labor isn't anywhere near even. If she doesn't want to clean as much, she can use fewer dishes or clean as she goes. She's picking what meal she wants to cook, so she's picking how much mess to make. And Opie said, I agree it would be fine if she just cleaned as she went. I am not asking her to make elaborate meals. That is all her, and I am so done having to clean it up. I had talked to her so many times about this issue. Literally, There is still flour and raw pasta bits on the counter and a pile of dishes. Even the blender is out. I am so over it. She was also fine not cleaning up my dinner on Saturday. Do you think that Opie isn't being unreasonable, or is he in the right in this situation? Let me know in the comments below. And for our next story, my boyfriend, 24 male, couldn't take care of me, 24 female, after surgery and called me a burden. I am devastated. My boyfriend and I have been together for 4 years. Last week, I had some abdominal pain, so I decided to go get it checked out by my GP. She recommended that I go to the hospital, as she thought it was something quite serious. I was pretty scared at this point, so I asked my boyfriend to come with me. This was during work hours, but he had no problems coming with me. We were in the hospital for about 6 hours before they diagnosed me with appendicitis and told me I needed to get surgery. He was with me the entire 6 hours and through all the tests they gave me before my diagnosis. He only left to get some food and get me my stuff as I had to stay overnight. He stayed until visiting hours were over. The next day, I had my surgery, and my BF came to visit me during his lunch break. I had a lot of muscle pain in my upper body due to the anesthesia, and it was painful to even move around. I had to stay in the hospital for the rest of the day, but they told me I could leave that night. He came to pick me up and also picked up my painkillers for me. He helped me get into bed, then he went to play video games. I asked him to help me get ready to sleep, but he kept asking for one more game. I said I was already falling asleep and just wanted to brush my teeth and go to bed. He came down to help me, but he seemed to be in a rush to go back. He kept asking me what more I needed and went back to playing when he was done. The next morning, he made me breakfast and cleaned up our room as my parents were coming to visit me. I asked my mom to bring me a massager as my muscle pains were still unbearable. My mom gave us some food, and he bought me some of it for lunch. He would help me get up and go to the bathroom when I needed to. After my parents left, I decided to take a nap, so he went to play some games. When I woke up, I needed to go to the bathroom, so I asked him to come help me. While I was in the bathroom, I got the muscle pains again and needed to lie down. I asked him to give me a massage with the massager, and he asked me if I really needed it. I told him it was really painful, but he wouldn't do it. I started crying from the pain, and he didn't even try to console me. One of our flatmates told us our cats had made a mess upstairs, and he had to go clean it up. He got quite frustrated at this point and threw his phone on the ground. I could tell he was getting stressed, so I asked my mom to come pick me up. He came back, and we started talking about why he couldn't help me. He said that he didn't want to take care of me, and it was time-consuming. He didn't realize how much work it would be and that I was a burden. At this point, I started sobbing and caused myself a lot of pain in my abdomen. He asked me to stop because I was hurting myself, but he didn't do anything to console me. He started to help me pack my stuff to stay at my parents' house. He said he was sorry and he was disappointed in himself. When I was leaving, he apologized again. I've been staying at my parents' house since then. It's been a couple of days, and I've talked to him about what he said and how it's hurt my feelings. He's apologized again for being selfish and how he should have put more effort in. He said he would understand if I wanted to end the relationship. I don't know what to do. I don't want to break up, but at the same time I can't stop thinking about what he said. I keep thinking about what would have happened if I was in a worse state, or if my mom wasn't here. I can't imagine not wanting to take care of someone that I love. But I also can't think of any 24-year-old man being able to take good care of me. He's been a good boyfriend for the last 4 years, but I'm scared of what might happen if I get really sick or injured. What would happen if we decided to have a baby in the future, if he would be able to take care of me? I just need some advice on what to do. And for our last story of today, my 47 female husband, 43 male, uses me like a secretary, and I'm sick of it. How can I ask him to take charge of his own things? My husband and I have been married for just over a year and together for about 4 years in total. We both work full-time, about the same amount of hours. I am also a full-time student. The house and our 2 cars are in my name, so I manage all the bills and payments and maintenance appointments. He pays for part of the bills, but they come from my accounts, and I manage when they are paid, etc. Because I am home a lot, I schedule when appointments happen at the house, which is fine, repair work, internet issues, etc. I schedule all my own appointments too, of course, like doctor, massage, etc. Here is where I have an issue. My husband also wants me to schedule all his appointments for things too. This results in a lot of back and forth to check dates and times with him. All the reminder emails go to me. All the accounts are in my name, etc. It's incredibly annoying, and it just gives me one more thing to stress about. My husband argues that I'm just better at that kind of thing, and I'm doing it anyway for lots of other appointments, so why not? He runs his own business, so I know he's organized enough to figure this out on his own. We work the same amount of hours, so it's not like I have more time with him to sit on hold with the doctor trying to get him an appointment. If I don't make his appointments, he just won't do them, so I'm worried for his health. I don't know what I can do to get him to take this on. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in and watching until the end. Your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed what you saw and want to stay updated on future content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know when I release new videos, and you'll be helping to support my channel. So, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and let's keep this journey going together. Thanks again and see you soon.